Welcome to Bloomberg Quint. One of the sector which has been under the storm of late has been the pharmaceutical sector, and everyone talks about the impact that is there because of the US markets, but we are forgetting one important market, and that is the domestic market. So we'll be today speaking a lot about what's happening as far as the domestic market is concerned, and there are a lot of concerns here, how the GST has impacted the pharma business, what is there in the draft pharma policy that is impacting some of these domestic companies, and other government policies. And overall, the first quarter has been weak for most of the companies in the domestic market. So to talk about all this, I have with me Mr. Rajiv Sibal. He heads the India region formulation for Lupin. Thanks, Rajiv, for speaking to us. First, let's talk about what has happened. The business in the first quarter wasn't one of the best quarters for Lupin, especially for the domestic business. If I can see here, your gross margins were down almost 2%, your EBITDA margins were down 3%. Now, this has happened. What can we expect from Lupin in the quarters ahead?
So, Darshan, first of all, thanks for having this chat. As far as domestic market of Lupin is concerned, obviously the first quarter was impacted because of the GST.
Yes.
We started the quarter with a very, very robust growth as far as April is concerned. Even to great extent, May was also good. But I think June saw the biggest impact of GST, because of which quarter was, impacted. But if you look at the results of most of the domestic results of, different organizations, I think we have been one of the best performers as far as Lupin is concerned in the first quarter.
Okay.
Because we have been impacted by 5% as far as our growth is concerned over the last year. Obviously, it is only because of June, and we are very sure that July, August have been very good months. We are very sure that whatever we have been impacted in the first quarter, going further, as far as next quarters are concerned, we will be able to cover up to a great extent.
But you've guided for 14 to 15% revenue growth, for the balance for FY18. Now, the first quarter wasn't the best. So how do you think this number will come in? What are you doing and how are you so confident that this number will come in?
So Darshan, if you look at the Lupin performance, domestic business over the last few years, if you look at last 4 years, the market has grown at a CAGR of 12% and Lupin has grown at 15%. So that's how we have talked about 15%. Okay. Yes, the first quarter has been exceptional, a different quarter because of the GST impact. But I'm sure coming quarters, once the destocking, whatever happened in the month of June, obviously, the stock levels will go up. And we are seeing that particular uptrend in July, August. And obviously, in this particular quarter onwards, this quarter onwards, we will be on track as far as 15% growth is concerned. And one of the reason why I am so confident as far as next 3 quarters are concerned, because the portfolio, what Lupin as far as domestic business is having.
Okay.
If you look at the market has acute portfolio contribution of 65%, chronic portfolio contribution of 35%. But as far as Lupin is concerned, we have more, contribution coming from chronic segment, which is to the tune of 54% versus market of 35%. And the chronic business, particularly lifestyle diseases, these are the drivers of the business, and that's where we expect that we will be in much better shape as far as next 3 quarters are concerned. Plus, we have also got a lot of alliances, with the other organization in diabetes segment, and that is one segment, which is doing very well as far as market is concerned, and we have launched certain new products that will also add to our growth as far as diabetes segment is concerned.
I'll come to GST in a bit, but I was just reading this report of Motilal Oswal in which Mr. Nilesh Gupta did speak about, and he's saying that he expects that the domestic market can continue recording a 12% CAGR in the medium term. You're talking about 14 to 15%. So how do I interpret this? So 12% or 14 or 15%?
So that's where I said that we have always been growing better than the market.
Okay.
So when any number is being given, it is in relation to the market.
Okay.
So if you look at last year, the market grew at 11-12%. This year, market has come down to 6%.
Okay.
Obviously, we have been always doing better than the market, and we will continue to do better than the market. And I feel that next 3 quarters will be much better, and these 3 quarters we will be able to register that 15% growth what Mr. Nilesh Gupta talked about.
Okay. Now some of the concerns that the market has. First of all, GST. You said that there was impact of destocking that happened in the first quarter. How has been the impact been, and when do you see a normalization of the domestic business? Which quarter probably?
So July, August, September, as I said, that we are seeing the uptrend. I'm sure July, August, September, when the results will be out, most of the companies will recover, whatever they have lost. Some part they will be able to recover in this quarter.
Sure.
But I'm sure it will take longer time. Might be next 3 quarters, we will keep on, having whatever we have lost as far as first quarter is concerned. So it may be little longer. You can't cover entire, whatever destocking happen in first quarter or second quarter, but we clearly see the trends, coming up.
What are your views on the draft pharma policy? Is there something there that actually worries you?
So if you look at the draft policy, Darshan, which has been recently introduced, and it is basically nationally discussed. So today, right now also it is in the discussion stage. I think the objective of the policy is to bring affordable, bring quality medicine at affordable price. I think it is just in the nascent stage. It is being discussed. So might be, once it is being discussed through and through. The good thing is that government is looking at the quality medicine. Government is talking about bioavailability and bioequivalence study of all the products which come for the renewal. Government is talking about GMP and GLP practices, which are very good, so that the quality medicines are available for the patient. But right now it is in the nascent stage. It is being discussed. So let us see how it moves on.
What about Jan Aushadhi scheme and the government's focus more on making generics also generic? Your reaction to that?
So as I said, that intent is very good, but as in India, once we ensure that quality parameters are being standardized for all the manufacturers, I think till that time, because once you roll out that model, basically you are talking about that quality has to be very, very stringent. So once quality parameters are stringent, and once the government looks at the standardization of quality parameters, I think till that time it will be difficult to roll out this, but I think that has to be moved into that direction.
Okay, now again there was this recent another list of NLEM medicines that came out. Some of the TB and anti-infectives were also part of it. Was there anything that Lupin had in that list, and how do you analyze the incremental impact of this?
So I think the last NLEM, what it was, nothing new to that an extent came up. Anti-TB came up in the last NLEM.
Yes.
So we have overall portfolio, which is 23% of our portfolio is under NLEM. So that's the impact what we have as far as both the NLEMs is concerned. So today we have 23% of our portfolio under NLEM.
You've expanded your field force substantially, by late FY16. And have they started to incrementally contribute to your profitability? How do you see that happening? And how do you see the expansion of your sales force in the next 3 or 4 years?
So, as I said, Darshan, that today the market is being driven by chronic segment, which is, basically cardiac segment, diabetes, respiratory, CNS. And whatever expansion we did, actually we did in all these segments. And I am very sure that these people have started contributing. Obviously, FY16 was the year when we added these people. And we can see the result as far as this year is concerned. When I see the performance of all the new divisions which were being created by this expansion, all these divisions are performing well. And I am very sure going forward, we will have much, much better productivity from these people whom we have added. And that's what our objective was, that particularly in chronic segment, which are the drivers of the growth, we must add people. We must ensure that we build more important brands, more bigger brands, so that we are able to be at the we are ahead of curve as far as other companies.
No, but any number that you have in terms of sales force or field force addition?
So we added 1,000 people as far as last year is concerned, and that's where now total our field force is 5,300 as far as our numbers are concerned.
Okay. You spoke about alliances in one of your earlier answers. You've been very successful with alliances with a lot of these multinational companies as far as the India market is concerned. Do you believe that going ahead, the incremental sale of share of new businesses will come in from these alliances rather than only Lupin's products?
So alliances are major contributor as far as our product portfolio is concerned, and we have been very successful. As you rightly said, we have been very successful as far as alliances are concerned. We have almost close to 20 alliances as far as Lupin is concerned, and I think no other company, Indian company, has those many licenses what Lupin has. Today, if I look at entire in-licensing portfolio, that contributes almost 17 to 18% of our business. business, and we are very sure still 82% comes from Lupin brands. So nevertheless, Lupin brands are very, very important, and we are very sure going forward also we will get much better growth from existing as well as from these alliances. So we are very clear that because new product pipeline is going to go dry up, in future, these alliances are very, very important, and hence, we are looking at these alliances, and we are very sure that a lot of growth will come from these alliances too.
Okay, which are the new areas, therapy areas, let's say in the next 2 or 3 years, where can we see Lupin enter? Okay, you identified these are the good few therapy areas that I want to enter. So what are those areas?
So first is that we are going to consolidate our chronic segment, as I said. So we are very strong in cardiac, diabetes, respiratory. There we are going to consolidate. We are going to put focus. Plus the new therapy areas like oncology. We are putting a lot of focus. Dermatology, we are getting into that. Ophthalmology, we are going to put focus. So these are few other, segments, where apart from the ones, where already we are very strong, we are going to put focus.
So how will this happen? How will this growth happen? Will it happen via, Lupin itself growing, or would it happen via any kind of acquisition?
So we are looking at all options. Obviously, for us, organic growth is very, very important. So we are looking at whatever portfolio we have, building that particular portfolio, and we are always looking at options. If there is something which comes, as far as our, moving forward is concerned, we will look at all the options.
Okay, but is there anything, are you in talks with anyone right now?
No, right now.
Or do you think that valuations now are much higher, or would you wait for valuations to come down significantly? Because post, GST and the entire implementation that has happened, valuations of the pharma industry have come down drastically. So would you wait for it? Do you still feel that valuations are high? I'm just asking your overall acquisition strategy.
So as I said that, we are looking at what is strategically fit as far as our portfolio is concerned. And as and when anything which comes, which fits into our, strategy, we will always look at that.
Okay. And my final question, we spoke about the near term for Lupin's domestic business, but let's say if you have a 5-year vision, where do you see the domestic business of Lupin going? What kind, if you can give us some numbers, what kind of margins or revenues, or what's your overall strategy for a slightly longer term, not the medium term, let's say a 5-year period?
So as I said, if you look at last 4 years also, we have grown much better than the market. Against a market CAGR of 12%, we have grown at 15%. Going forward also, we will be always ahead of market, and that's what our objective is, that we always have to grow better than the market. Obviously, if the market grows whatever percentage, we will be always better than the market.
Thank you, Mr. Sibal, for speaking to Bloomberg. Quint, that's the management of Lupin. They are pretty confident of their domestic business. They believe that, they will be growing much ahead of the markets even in the years to come.